You park your car. Tap your card. Insert the nozzle. Your eyes follow the numbers, jumping from 0 to 20. Ling ling. Whoosher. Lean ling. Cheeser. Lean lean. In front of you is just a shiny metal box. A few buttons. A slightly scratched LCD screen. Nothing looks unusual, but here's the slightly chilling truth: you're standing above roughly 100,000 liters of potentially explosive liquid. What does 100,000 liters mean? Picture a small backyard swimming pool, the kind a whole family could enjoy in summer. Now replace the water with gasoline. And you're standing right on top of it. Phone in hand. Waiting for the tank to fill. Sounds like the opening scene of a disaster movie, doesn't it? Yet nothing happens. Because beneath that layer of concrete lies an entire technological fortress. The pump you see is almost empty inside. It's really just the breathing tube of a much larger underground system. The fuel isn't inside the box in front of you. It sits deep underground in massive buried tanks. And here's the fascinating part. Those tanks aren't fragile metal barrels like you might imagine. They're more like Russian nesting dolls, a tank within a tank. An inner layer of steel or composite holds the gasoline, while an outer shell wraps around it. The gap between those layers isn't there for decoration. It's constantly monitored. Between the two walls are usually sensors or special fluids designed to detect leaks. If the inner layer cracks, gasoline doesn't immediately spill into the soil. Instead, it seeps into the space between the layers. Sensors detect pressure changes or the presence of fuel, and the system raises an alarm. If the outer shell has a problem, pressure shifts again and the system sounds the alarm once more. Think of it like wearing two raincoats in a storm. One layer failing isn't the end of the world. The system knows long before the surrounding environment does. But how does the gasoline actually reach the pump? Many people imagine it being sucked upward like water through a straw. In reality, it's often the opposite. Powerful turbine pumps at the bottom of the tank push fuel upward. That means the flow is controlled at the source, not just by pressure at the nozzle. When you squeeze the handle, you're activating a chain of mechanisms several meters below your feet. Every liter passing through your hands has its pressure regulated and is measured with extreme precision. The margin of error is typically only a few thousandths. If you pump 40 liters, the difference might be no more than a small coffee cup. That level of accuracy is no accident. It's the result of strict industry standards. There's another detail most people overlook: vapor recovery systems. As liquid fuel enters your car's tank, gasoline vapor inside has to go somewhere. At many modern stations, the nozzle quietly pulls those vapors back into the underground storage instead of letting them escape into the air. Gasoline vapor doesn't just smell unpleasant, it's highly flammable. Recovering it reduces pollution and lowers the risk of forming combustible mixtures in open spaces. A silent closed loop is happening during the few minutes you stand there waiting. And of course, there's grounding, the electrical kind. You've probably heard warnings not to use your phone while fueling. The biggest risk usually isn't the phone signal itself, but static electricity sliding out of your car can create tiny charges from friction between your clothes and the seat, small enough that you only feel a faint snap when touching the door. But in an environment rich with fuel vapor, even a tiny spark can cause trouble. That's why the station's metal systems are grounded, channeling stray charges safely into the earth. Beneath the pavement is a network of conductors no one sees, always ready to swallow invisible sparks before they can misbehave. By now, a gas station might start to feel less like a convenience stop and more like a submarine. Above ground, everything looks ordinary. Below, armored systems, sensors, pumps, valves, and grounding wires work together in quiet synchronization. An underground city operating 24/7. And ironically, you only interact with the simplest part, the nozzle and the display screen. Next time you wait for your tank to fill, imagine the layered structure beneath your feet, working silently to make everything look boring. No sirens, no overwhelming fuel smell, No spreading oil slicks. That calm isn't luck. It's the result of decades of safety standards, relentless testing, and hard-learned lessons from past accidents. Sometimes, the most unsettling thing isn't the massive amount of fuel hidden underground. It's how easily we forget it's there. Feeling too safe can make everything seem ordinary. Yet beneath the concrete you just walked across, a fortress stands guard over every drop of fuel. And if underground cities like this spark your curiosity, think about how many familiar places hide complex worlds beneath their surfaces. Maybe next time you're standing on a bridge or riding in an elevator, we'll peel back the shiny metal layers together and see what's really happening underneath. Trust me, this world has never been as simple as it looks.